Start with the budget and the taxes. And I'm going to speak about the budget because that's what the Board of Trustees can control. The taxes are a function of the budget, but money comes in not only from property taxes. It fluctuates year to year from 80 to 90% of the income that we get. The rest of it comes from court fees, permit fees, monies that get given to us from the county and the state. A large part of it comes from mortgage taxes, which, as you know, over the last few years we've had a lot, and this year it's not as much. And sales tax as well. And of course this year we're not going to be getting any sales tax. We've been notified by Nassau County that we're not going to get it, so that's going to be a $50,000 or $60,000 hole that we've got to fill. But since I've been a trustee, which is 6 years now, our budget has gone up 32.5%, and that is approximately $1.3 million. And of course, everybody wants to know where did that increase come from. That's what I'm going to tell you. Inflation, of course, we all recognize that labor has an increased cost every year. Our Department of Public Works union has a contract. They get about a 3% increase each year. So that constitutes about 18 or 20% of the increase of that 32.5 to 1.3 million. We've also had a great many people in the past who have grieved their taxes, and that is an unexpected outflow of money. We budget a certain amount for it, but we never know how much that's going to be. And so that has been, according to the mayor, that's about 3 to 5% of the tax increase each year. So that's another 18 or 20%. And we did resolve that issue now. About a year ago, we passed a law. We got it through the New York State Legislature, and we're one of only about 2 or 3 municipalities in New York State that have done this. And what we did was we froze the percentage of the property taxes that are paid by commercial properties in Seacliff at 20%, which is what it has been all along, but now it's frozen at that amount. And residential is 80% of the property taxes. So in the past, when a resident grieved his taxes, if he won, he got a refund of $200 or $100 or $300, relatively small amounts of money when you talk about a $5 million budget. But when a commercial property wins something and they go back 5 or 6 years, you're talking about $100,000 and $200,000. And that has a very significant impact on a $5 million budget. And it's totally unexpected when your budget is done once a year. So what will happen now is when a commercial property, should they grieve it, it will only affect the taxes of the other commercial properties because they will remain at that 20% of our tax base. And what we have done so that for the last year the village has been successful in defending its appraisal of everybody's property is New York State required the village to go out and reappraise every property in the village so that we have the latest information possible. So that may be partially why your village property taxes the village property appraisal might be a little bit different from your county appraisal. The county appraised you back in 2003, or perhaps it was 2, and we did it just a year ago, and we're just in the process of redoing it now. So you should not see the same sort of increases from the property tax grievances because we are now up to snuff, and the big changes will only be on the commercial side if the commercial property is successful. And so far this year, we've had no refunds on the commercial side since then. So there are 5 major places besides those 2 things I just spoke of that have had an effect on our budget. The first one, refuse collection. That's your garbage collection. That's basically the cost of taking the garbage from our DPW yard and sending it to a landfill wherever it goes. We actually send it to a transfer station in Glen Cove, and then Jamaica Ash takes it to wherever they take it for the landfill. And those costs have gone up in the 6 years. They have gone up $150,000. That sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but as time has gone on and landfills become more expensive and fuel has gone up, There's a tremendous amount of garbage that gets shipped out of Seacliff, as it does from everybody, and so that cost has gone up $150,000. The next category would be roads. When I first became a trustee, we had $100,000 in the budget for roads. In 2008-2009 fiscal year, we had $275,000 in the budget for roads. That's a $175,000 increase just in our roads budget. And of course, it asks the question, why? And so the answer would be that for 8 years, we didn't have a tax increase in Seacliff. And of course, we all like to have that. But the reality is that the village's costs go up with inflation, 2.5%, 3.5% a year. So if we don't increase property taxes by that same level of inflation, the only thing that we can do is lower services. And so what happens each year, or during those 8 years that property taxes weren't increased, they stopped repaving roads. They stopped taking care of the parks. So there was a lot of catch-up to do. And there's been a negotiation every year in the budget negotiations with the mayor. The mayor proposes the budget. The Board of Trustees then would comment on it and eventually has to ratify it. And so this year, even though the budget was $275,000, it was originally proposed at over $300,000. I argued against it, and the compromise that was reached was that it was put at $275,000. My guess is that in future years that will probably come down, because now we've pretty much caught up with the roads repaving in Seacliff. We have a lot of roads, 22 miles of roads, and so each year we do have to do some. We do get some money from the state on that, and that always helps.